It's realer from here. But first, want to give a shout out to all my fellow Pisceans out there. Gang, you already know. We in the build done. Also want to give a shout out to all my 2-2s and my 3-3s and my 2-2-2s and my 3-3-3s and my 7-7-7s. And shout out to any other angelical numerical numbers that I may have forgot to mention. Also want to thank everybody for coming out to support the channel. Thank you. And those of you that are new, welcome to the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell notification to be notified of my upcoming videos and content. And we're going to jump right in. So today, I'm going to be talking about Jeffrey Dahmer. See, the dark side of Jeffrey Dahmer, which is the dark side of Gemini. Break it down for y'all. As we know, Jeffrey Dahmer was a Gemini, but according to astrology, doesn't really break it down to his behaviors or, his worst traits. But I'll explain. So here, one thing about the Gemini is that there's a lot of, like I say, there's a duality, there's the twins. So you have someone that has, which I often say or stated, that you will be dealing with someone that is has two perspectives. Okay, so basically, for those of you that know a little bit about Jeffrey Dahmer, he was a serial, sort of like a serial killer. So, he did a lot of crazy, things, I guess with the whole picking out particular victims and, trying to, get them to do some sort of picture taking. But like I say, it was more prone to, or it had more to do with people being like, I guess gay, in other words. But I guess he would, pay these people like $50 or something to take pictures with him, but then he will subdue them by taking them to the house, giving them some type of drug that would, make them pass out. Then he did all these crazy things, like he would drill a hole in their head and then like pour acid in it, all while watching The Exorcist. So it was just like a bunch of weird things. And then he had this thing where after he would subdue the victim, he would sleep with the victim in the bed. Like he got off on like sleeping with dead bodies. It was just weird. But he also stored, their body parts in the fridge, and then, he would eat them for dinner. So it's just like where we get all these, these traits and these behaviors going to, I understand it could be a trauma. It could be something that happened in his childhood, but still ain't no excuse, because even then he still had, his father, taught him how to, be a meat cutter. So in so many words. So it's like he had a lot of experience. So that's when it comes to that whole decomposed situation. And how did he know that? Pretty much he learned that from his father. So it's kind of like, what would make a person tick, or what would make a person just, get to this level or get to this point. So one thing is with Jeffrey Dahmer, in regards to his behavior, he was manipulative with communication. So here, it's like with Geminis, as you know, they could be persuasive and talk their way through situations. Pretty much any situation, they can talk themselves through it. Now, the problem is, if he were to encounter some type of accountability for his actions, he could talk his way out of that too. So most Geminis can. So this is like a known trait. Now, here's the problem, is that it could be a situation where people could believe that someone, they could believe that someone that they shouldn't. So it's like in such a way where if you shouldn't trust the Gemini by what they say, most people will trust them. It's almost like you can't escape. What's going on, Big Drippy? Welcome. How you doing? And it's hot, man. It's super hot. It's like we can't catch a break, bro. I wish it would just be like 60 degrees, bro. It's so hot, bro. Like I just could barely like breathe in this weather. But anyway, welcome. Another thing is Jeffrey Dahmer, he had like a double life. So here, you know, what people see of him is probably not who he was. So it's like you got to understand that how could someone, you know, live a normal life as Jeffrey Dahmer? He lived in Milwaukee. So like it's pretty much like a situation where I'm sure people that, you know, passed by him, saw him on a day-to-day, he didn't give no sign of, you know, that second lifestyle from him, you know, subduing victims and whatnot. So you could only imagine that maybe he was just being like the type of person, just, you know, normal, or at least he appeared to be, go get the newspaper, you know, just the day-to-day, you know, necessities of just going to work, coming back. But there were people that lived up on him in his apartment. So I'm sure they seen things, smelled things, you know, noticed, you know, different noises and whatnot. So I'm sure somebody got whiff of what he was doing. Now, another thing with this double life situation is, like I said, he was a whole different person behind closed doors. So oftentimes sometimes like when you meet a Gemini, it's like they can have that type of personality which fluctuate. So you can't say, oh yeah, this person is the same all the time, or hey, they could surprise you. I mean, I understand it's very controversial. People gonna say, well, other signs can do the same, and yeah, but not to the extent, bro, because this is like a type of situation where you can't even get to it's too many complexities in one person. It's like he went through a step-by-step type of strategy in how he subdued his victims, to the point where that's some heavy like thinking skills, to the point where how could he do so much damage in a short amount of time? But that's the thing. Remember I said with Gemini, you can't tell. Like you can't read their facial expression and think something's going on, whether it's good or bad. They don't give you any type of like, you know, heads up. They don't give you no type of emotion whatsoever. So here, that's the issue, that people don't realize something is wrong when it is with Gemini. Now, they could be secretive. So here, you know, they like to keep their thoughts private. So that's why I said, if they are thinking about how they feel, you probably not going to get whiff of that. Now, they will talk through their feelings, if that makes sense. So they can like, you know, play their cards close to their chest. So no one really knows what they got going on. And then all of a sudden, when it comes to issues, problems, warning signs, people miss it, because it's like the Gemini behaves in such a way where they don't let you see anything, know anything. So it's like they can actually be paranoid in such a sense in regards to it. Now, Geminis are also highly observant. So here, you know, they notice the details quickly, and, you know, they're the type of person that can, you know, clock things where other people might have missed it, you know, didn't see it, didn't have the chance to, or just wasn't paying attention. Okay, so they could use the information in harmful ways based on what they clock. So it's like, you don't know if you even gonna have a chance to be in on that conversation, because a lot of times a Gemini won't even put you in the conversation if you're not a part of the pack. So they're very intelligent. So that also ties into them being witty, being quick on their feet, as well as their thoughts. So they're quick thinkers. So with this being said, it's like their brain is moving 100 miles an hour. Okay, so with this intelligence there isn't any empathy. That's the difference, because that's why I said, if you, let's say they don't really give a damn about, life, people, you're never going to know that. You're never going to be able to see it, because they're intelligent enough to withhold the empathy, and that can be very dangerous. That's why I'm saying with this whole Jeffrey Dahmer situation, it's almost like he was killing people without people even knowing that he was. And he was doing a whole lot of things at once that was like, he was just moving too fast, as if he'd done this before. Now, another thing with Geminis is they're very curious. So, they want to know how everything works. So if they do have, a new gun, a new, chainsaw, some type of, weapon. It don't even have to be a weapon. It could be a new microwave, a new pair of shoes or something. And what it is that they want to know how it works. They want to know how, it feels to wear them. And they can also like to always investigate things. So curiosity is one of their biggest, traits. So one thing, when they have this curiosity alone, it doesn't make someone dangerous, but I will say it can be misused. So that's why I said, you understand that maybe this was something that Jeffrey Dahmer sat on for years. Maybe it was something that he always wanted to do, but he just didn't. It was the timing for him. I'm not saying that it was right. I'm just saying, like, you could tell. Can't nobody just come off just off the mere fact of just wake up one day and just, oh, I'm about to do all these things. I believe he was sitting on these different, evil thoughts, to the point where he had, the training, he had the experience that his dad taught him with the whole, putting with the whole meat type of thing. I used to work in the meat department, but right now I just can't think about the terms. But, when it comes to taking out when someone, if you pour acid and then, it, gets rid of everything on the inside, and then you can just skin it and then, save and whatnot. So I believe that was something he was just trying to see, oh, how would this, just being curious, how would this look, or how would this work? But that's the thing. If a person thinks they're getting away with something, they just gonna keep doing it. But I think every single step that Jeffrey Dahmer took was planned. I believe that every single, heinous act that he committed, it was intentional, that he wanted to taste the the what, and everything in the fridge, or what he saved from those bodies. I feel like he wanted to taste, every single thing, the acid situation, and he just had too much time on his hands to where he didn't get caught until he was caught. It was like it took a long time to catch him. So another thing, they can be very charming. So here, they can make strong first impressions. They're very, they're considered smooth talkers. And oftentimes other people, they let their guard down too quickly when they're, dealing with Gemini because of this, just like Tupac. I know that's a whole different, person. Was like with Tupac, he was, real thorough with his speech, very poetic, smooth. He was a smooth talker. So he could, like, make a person slow down, make a person speed up. He could, tell somebody something and it sound like, oh, like he's very intelligent, very smart, hip to what's going on. But then you don't really know if he's really like that, because people will leave that guard down if they think you spitting some real type of knowledge or whatnot. So that's one thing. Now, he was adaptable as well. So here, he can adjust to different situations. Getting back to Jeffrey Dahmer, he could switch it up fast, turn it off. That's why I said it either could speed it up or slow it down. Now, the difficult thing for this and for others was to know which perspective of the Gemini is the real version of themselves, of the person, because you don't know if this is the real side that you're getting, or is this the, you know, the criminal side? So, you know, what Gemini is more like, they can control it. So this could look more like a person driving stick shift, where they could, you know, they know exactly when to pull the clutch. You know, it's like a, you know, driving with 2 feet, and they're just so good at, okay, boom. But if they ever had to, you know, get into an automatic, you know, a car that's ran on automatic transmission, boom, you know, they can just switch it up and just go to driving like that. But if they ever had to go back, they could do that too. So there can be a jack of all trades in such a way. And this applies to, you know, positive things and negative things. Now, another thing with this, you know, the traits and behaviors of Jeffrey Dahmer was that he was emotionally detached. So here, he could literally, you know, commit a heinous act. Like I say, pour the acid inside the body, remove the remains, run to the store, make a bologna sandwich, you know, watch a show of Andy Griffin, and then like literally go see a, you know, walk past a neighbor house just smelling like dead bodies, and he's just not even like, nothing on his face shows what he just did, if that makes sense. So he could pretty much act like nothing happened. A lot of Geminis can do this. So the relationships that you may see them in could feel shallow. So it's like you might not even think the Gemini really is that relaxed or that hype, because that can all just be a perspective. Now, you just got to know which one is the real them. Now, another thing with Jeffrey Dahmer, he was hard to read. So here, Geminis don't always reveal what they're thinking. As I mentioned, your thinking, you know, applies to your expressions. So here we're dealing with the poker face. So that's really nothing you can do about reading someone's poker face, because either way, the only thing you're left with is whether or not you should trust it, right? So most people end up, you know, it makes people distant because they don't trust the whole, oh, you just look all calm and just, you know, like nothing bothers you. In most cases, it's hard to trust someone like that. Now, another thing with the Gemini aspect and the traits with Jeffrey Dahmer, he compartmentalized his life. So here, you know, he could keep different parts of his life separate. So, you know, he can have a different life going on with different rules at the same time. Okay, so a lot of times friends may never even see the full picture. Even though they may question it, they still wouldn't know. Now, another trait of Jeffrey Dahmer was he was, you know, very calculating, very calculative, cold and calculative. So here, you know, he could, you know, think several moves ahead. It's just like playing a game of chess. So his decisions became more manipulative. Now, one thing about Geminis that they, you know, that they're known for, and this is not I'm not being biased. This is not my opinion. This is more like what I hear a lot of people saying from different signs, different people with different experiences. Well, Geminis can be considered good liars. Now, another thing with this is that they're very influential, very you know, they can communicate very well, very witty, and they can be convincing. So a person that can persuade you, you know, lure you, you know, it's not even just charm, but this is what he was good at, because he can literally look you straight in the face with a story, and that story ends up, you know, having you move towards his, you know, towards his direction. You can you know, hey, you can, you know, I'll drop you off. So that was like one of his strategies in such a way that lured his victims. Now, another thing is that if there's a story, like I say, having that straight face with the story, that oftentimes it can allow people to follow you. Now, another thing is that people oftentimes trust the false information when people do this. Now, he was calm under pressure. So here, you know, with Jeffrey Dahmer, he could think quickly in a stressful situation. So when with one of his victims, they showed the documentary to where like he was able to, you know, put the hand, like tie the dude like a handcuff type of situation. Like he had enough time to manage to do that in a like if he see the person start to like, you know, let's say the medication or the when he would put the stuff in their little drink, if that didn't do his job, you know, he would sit there and have enough time to tie the, you know, handcuff him to the damn, you know, wherever he could, you know, handcuff him to. In other words, he already had that planned out. Oh, if you try to escape. So that was just a whole nother thing, because you gotta think the story about paying the guys to take naked photos with him. That, like, who really was gonna go along with that? These people must have really been stoked over 50 bucks just to lose their lives, like to the point where it must have sounded good from coming from Jeffrey Dahmer, if that was the, you know, hey, you know, maybe it sound easy, maybe it was something that people thought was an easy thing. That's probably why he targeted the age group, you know. So boom. Another thing with this thinking, you know, quickly in stressful situations was he was cool as ice. So here he really didn't show that, okay, whether or not he was stressed. It looked as though like he was just, you know, behaving normal like a robot. So another thing with Geminis is they can be independent. So here they prefer doing things their own way. So a lot of times you might not even see them with other people because in their mind they don't need nobody. So it could be a whole lot of isolation within, you know, their personality. Now, another thing with Jeffrey Dahmer is he was unpredictable. So here, you know, this comes with mood and behaviors. They can be different, where you can't detect what's going to happen or what's going to, you know, come from this person. So it could be their mood or their behavior. It can just surprise people. Like, you ever been in a situation where you thought somebody was angry and then they started smiling and it kind of just threw you off, like, wait a minute, like, this person I just saw a frown, or I just saw a mean mug, but now this person started cracking up. So it could feel like, you know, oh, you can't really read what's going on. So you never know. Could be the situation. Now, another thing with Gemini is that they oftentimes struggle to, you know, when it comes to other people, they can have a struggle to even trust Geminis because of this, because Gemini won't give you the facial expression to match the mood or their behavior. So it's like what you might think of, you know, as sad, they will look like that but be happy as fuck, to where it's like you can't even go off of that. You know, they could cuss you out and have a whole, you know, calm demeanor, to where you can't tell whether it was serious or if, you know, if it was fake, or not even fake. It could just be a situation where, is he really mad, or is she really mad, or is she playing around, like, you know. So that could be, you know, a situation that can be dangerous to someone else. Now, another thing with Geminis is they like to keep people guessing. Appreciate everybody that's here. Welcome everyone. Subscribe if you haven't. Also, I'm accepting donations. So like, if anyone wants to leave anything, I would, you know, it would mean a lot to me. So another thing is with Geminis, they like to keep people guessing. So like I say, they don't always show their intentions. And like I say, it could be a mystery every day. So you could just be like, damn, you know, one thing you see, another thing. It could always keep you on your toes. But here's the thing. With all this going on, it can lead misunderstandings, because, as I mentioned, it would never be the way you thought it would be, because, yeah, they're a mystery every day, but then you don't know, they might be angry tomorrow and you ain't got nothing to go off of. You won't even know they're angry until, you know, let's say they, you know, take you somewhere and they crash out. It's like, well, damn, you know, I didn't even know you were this mad. I wouldn't even came had I known you was pissed, you know. So they could talk differently to different people. So they can have one conversation with, you know, someone in their apartment complex, then someone else, a whole completely different vibe. Now, they can adjust their communication style. This goes back to what I said about, you know, driving stick shift, you know, having to drive with 2 feet. And that could be difficult for someone that's just used to, you know, driving automatic. You know, it's like, if they've never done it before, they can literally kill the clutch because, you know, they're just not used to it. So with Gemini, if you look at that and apply it to their communication, they can adjust. And see, here's the thing, as they adjust, they're able to change their vibe. So it would be different for everybody who experiences it. Now, here's the problem. Now everything appears to be inconsistent, because how can you do this with this person, but with me, I'm not getting the same vibe or the same behavior. So it could be like, oh, you're not all in, if that makes sense. Now, they can be detached from consequences. So, this is a situation that's associated with Jeffrey Dahmer, not so much, a Gemini trait, but with this whole association to the whole criminal behavior in itself, some individuals can have this, because think about it. How could you do all that work, that evil work, and then not one time you think about how much time you would get if you got caught? When you got caught, like, this man was acting like that was a thing to do, like as if it was no rules. Now, another thing is that why I mention this is because he was definitely a serious harm to others, if that makes sense. Now, another thing with Jeffrey Dahmer, he was deceptive. So boom, with this, everybody knows that deception is a personal behavior. So it could be a situation where a person has to, choose this, because being deceptive, nobody wakes up and say, yeah, I'm gonna be deceptive today. Like, it's literally a different type of a behavior that you have, to where you just choosing to like be this way. Now, another thing with Jeffrey Dahmer, he was obsessive. So here, like I say, he was determined to do these different things to these people. He was controlling. So the control issues tie into, his behavior. And this is why when the victims, and when they were trying to leave, when they realized that, hey, this is something feels off, he wouldn't let them leave. So that controlling nature within his personality, it rised up. Now, he had a lack of empathy here. So boom, with this, he didn't give a damn about how old, as one of his victims was young, like very young. So he didn't care about that. And then, like, as soon as I think I have to go back and watch a little more of it, but one of his victims, it was like he was about to didn't he, in the chat, didn't he get I think it was the boy. Was it the boy that told on him, or was it or did they give the boy, they didn't believe him, and then he ended up doing something to the boy? Now, to go back and look at that part, but I know one of the victims was like a young boy, and something happened to where he ended up I believe, don't quote me now, but I believe that whether either the boy got caught, and then Jeffrey Dahmer ended up getting off, or he almost got off and then he got caught with the boy situation. Now, another thing is he isolated himself. So here, this is a Gemini trait. And see, one thing is that with the Gemini, why they're known as inconsistent is because they can withdraw at any time. So that's almost like a person, driving in a car with no seatbelt. At any time, they can eject whenever they feel like it. See, now here, the thing was, simply because Geminis, they like to stay to themselves. So even if they, are very chatty, for the most part, they like to stay to themselves. Now, another thing with this behavior that can be considered a problem is that they go unnoticed. Now, another thing with Jeffrey Dahmer is he hid his true self. And Geminis are good at this, okay? So this is not a stereotype. They can definitely hide their true self. That's why I say the most dangerous thing, even with Jeffrey Dahmer, is that you don't really know what you're dealing with, who you're dealing with, because a Gemini can show you one perspective, and then they have another perspective. So now you don't know what's going to happen, because they might have, left that information out to begin with, and now you're confused because now you don't even know if this is the real him, right? So boom, people may miss the important warning signs, you know, in regard to it. Now, another thing with Jeffrey Dahmer is that okay, so when we look at just the additional, you know, uh put it like this, when we this hot as a fucking shit, bro. I can't take it, bro. I can't. It's too fucking hot, and I'm like dripping with sweat, bro. Whew. It's hot as a motherfucker, bro. I can't. I know I had to say that like that, but bro, it's that hot, bro. Like, can't take it. Oh my god, bro. Been sweating the storm up every day. But yeah, okay, so I should have brought a towel next time. Okay, so another thing, like I say, the additional things that I have in regards to Jeffrey Dahmer, what he was faced with, and what he, you know, this is what he did to his victims. Boom. Well, here was the chronic deception, bro. So this was like beyond deception in itself. This was like the worst version of it. Now, with his how was he successful at, you know, capturing his victims? Because he used manipulative behavior. Okay, now this type of individual had no empathy whatsoever. So this is how he was able to just do these things to people and stomach the very thing he was doing. He used superficial charm. He had used isolation from others. So all these little things, like you might even see people with these similar behaviors that's, you know, not a Gemini, and say, wow, this is, you know, it could be anyone that behaves like this that you really got to pay attention to, because people could be just out here operating like this, and then yeah, until they do something, it's like, wow, you can watch a person behavior and say, wow, this is how they are. But I'm only giving these additional traits because Geminis can be this way. Now, one thing is, like I say, Geminis oftentimes they have a desire for control. They can have the type of mindset that doesn't really think about the rules, you know, failure to learn from the consequences. It could be a situation where they have obsessive thinking. So with that curiosity, they can feel like, you know, hey, just have that desire for repeated rule breaking. So everybody knows that, you know, he took advantage of the victims, obviously, for and made the investigation difficult because he was leaving no traces, but only the smell of the dead body. So it was like, for him to actually, you know, set up the exorcist and, you know, have that playing in the background, or, you know, have the person sitting right next to him, then, you know, he would offer them a beer, but he would give them the one that's, you know, that was drugged. And then, you know, just by simply watching the exorcist, the person would take a couple sips, and then they'll realize, hey, you know, they didn't felt uncomfortable. But ultimately, that particular beer with the drug in it, it, like, you know, made the person's senses, you know, just kind of drop to the point where it's like the inability to, you know, react the way that they would have reacted if they hadn't, you know, drank it. So I believe that with Jeffrey Dahmer, he was one of the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hydes of the Gemini culture, because it's like Jekyll and Hyde, you can't, if you never, the reason why Jekyll and Hyde was so hard to figure out or pinpoint, because you think Jekyll and Hyde is two different people. Like, you think that, oh, like, you would think one person is, you know, just like in a lab coat, and then one is super villain type, anger type, you know, angry. But that could be the situation, because you gotta look at, here's the the thing that you're left with, and this is all not to judge Gemini, this is for you to get, to have a better understanding, is that when you look at the whole behavior of a Gemini, what you're really dealing with is the twins, okay? So that's just one person with two perspectives. Now, the thing about it is, it could be so if you look at one perspective, it could be that's this type of person that's maybe prone to mistakes, don't give a damn. They might have, anger. It could be that unresolved anger, repressed anger, to the point where this could be who they are on a day-to-day. But then the other side of them, the other perspective, could be that, hey, it's even worse than the other one. So the whole thing is, you can never say, oh, that Gemini wouldn't do that. That person wouldn't do that. Oh, yeah, they know better, or they wouldn't take it that far. Shit. Because remember the perspectives. One perspective is, hey, I don't give a damn. I'm going to listen to my family. I'm not going to do nothing that nobody tells me to do. I'm going to do it my way. And then all of a sudden, the other perspective is even worse, to the point where somebody got to get, thrown over. Somebody got to get killed, betrayed, backstabbed, lied to, don't give a damn. So it's like worse and worse, worse and worse, to the point where that people think that a Gemini has a good and bad side. No, that's not what that's not the best way to look at it, because you could be thinking that, and then all of a sudden they can fool you that the other side of, the other perspective. And all this really means is that they can change their mind. So it's like they give themselves permission to change their mind in the heat of a moment or a decision. So that could be a person that could say, oh, I like you, but at the same time, I don't. So it's like, then you might ask yourself, well, why are you talking to me? Because I want to. That could be the response from a Gemini, because they have a desire for control. And how Gemini feels is like they still want to have access to you, even if they don't, even if they hate you. So it's like they don't want to be like, oh, you can't talk to this person because you don't like them. In their mind, oh, they want to pick and choose. That's going back to those two perspectives. They want to be able to pick and choose, like have the option that, hey, if I don't want to talk to Susie or Joanne, I could go talk to this person that I hate. I could go talk to, Sam. And it's like, in their mind, shit, they just want to be able to have the option to choose that, hey, I could still go talk to this person even if I hate them, like to the point where it could be, to someone else perceiving this could be confusing, because it's like you would literally witness the Gemini speaking to the very person that they say that they hate all the time for hours, to the point where it'll almost feel like they're friends, but they're not. So the problem that you got to watch out with as well is thinking that the Gemini likes you because they're talking to you so much in small talk. And it's like, that could feel like a friendship. That could feel like, oh, it can make you feel comfortable because it might sound like you guys got a lot, in common. But see how that's because they're not showing you that perspective. See, that they hate you because that's the other twin. It's like, that's the other perspective. That's the person that you might not even get to meet, because to a Gemini, they're going to hide their real self. And you might be met with the person that is almost like, oh, yeah, I was just talking to you, but that wasn't really how I felt. Like, that was just my twin. So it's like, you can feel like you're not really getting the truth, the true real them. And then it's like, they can literally have these different, type of viewpoints, to where, oh, I could talk to a person and not like them. Who says I can't? See, because they're not going to show you that other side unless you bring it out of them. And I mean, if you do something where you put them in their place, or, embarrass them publicly, then you will see the different change and the different perspective come out to where, you know what, really, I don't, me talking to you, I really can't stand you. It'll come out to where they'll tell you how they really feel. Like, I really don't like you anyway. Like, so it doesn't matter. Like, you just kill time for me in the morning before I go to work or something. It could just be like something left like that, because with a Gemini, especially if you're a water sign, can really throw you off. I'm saying they can annoy you because nothing is concrete. Nothing is in stone that, hey, you are really like this, and this is really the mood, or this is really how you really feel. And Pisces can't, like, if it's a Pisces, they're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to join Gemini on that, because with Pisces, they won't feel emotionally safe, because they'll be like, Gemini can withdraw. Now, when a Gemini withdraws, it's almost like them going to a bank and withdrawing their money without even seeing the teller. Like, how the hell did you just leave, or you just did this yourself? So it can leave you in the dark, and to the point where you're like, yo, we were all supposed to go somewhere and come back together, but a Gemini can actually leave off with someone else. Just off, they don't even have to be drunk. They can just leave the venue in a different car with a whole group of different people. It could be times where, yeah, they knew them, or you could have been an old friend, but it's like you're not guaranteed that they're going to be with you the whole time, if that makes sense. Now, another thing I would say is the two-faced behavior, okay, which a lot of people depict Geminis of having in regards to their personality, okay? So, as I mentioned, the Gemini can show different sides, of themselves. So it depends on the situation. That's the whole, see how I said it depends on the situation. They can show different sides of themselves. So let's say, yeah, they enjoy speaking to you, but they hate you. They hate you as, if it's not about the whole talking, the merely, conversation between the two of you, it's like, oh, they might, they'll do that, but they won't fuck with you outside of that, if that makes sense. Because it's like they will pick and choose, going, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that, but I'm not doing that. Like, so you can feel this, because after having a conversation and now the conversation's over, now the Gemini, then floated off to someone else, or they leave, and it's like, oh, we were just talking for 2-3 hours, and now you think that, oh, you know them a little better, and you don't. So it's like that could be the case. So what do we call this? Switching up real quick. Switching up. And if you like a person that, switches up, and you maybe you get entertained by it, maybe you don't really care, then a Gemini could be for you. But if a person is used to a person always being, the same way, for the most part, this could drive you crazy. Now, friends, they may feel like they don't know which version they'll get from the Gemini, and this could give people anxiety. This could give people a panic attack, because when you pick up the Gemini, their behavior is so adverse that it's almost like how do I tell you? It's like you just don't know what the hell you're gonna get from them. Now, they could be restless. Okay, so here, their personality, in regards to their personality, they could get bored easily. They easily crave variety, so they can have multiple men, boyfriends, or multiple girlfriends, to where, like, they switch off. They need to have, maybe 10 boyfriends or 10 girlfriends, because, like I say, they might have, going back to the options, they might have a different dude for different things. It's like, if she want to have fun, she's gonna have somebody to have fun with, and then 3 or 4 other friends, because if she gets bored with that person, she has to withdraw to someone else. Now, so she could always be chasing the next thing. So if she comes across somebody that, talkative or just has a different situation going on, she can, bandwagon to where she'll end up, chasing that person. And then once she gets what she wants from that person, then she's gonna get bored and go off to the next. But the problem is she could be the type of person that, has you with a roll call number to where, hey, your number, your number 125. So it's almost like you can't even feel special because if you get with her, she could be a dime piece or she could be fine as hell. And a lot of times, like, that really won't mean nothing if you're number 125, if that makes sense. It's like, because she could go through partners and it's like, damn, you was just with somebody. And if she breaks up with the person, she can instantly find a new partner like that quick. So, that could be a thing that people frown upon, especially if you felt like you guys were arguing over some petty. Now, another thing is that, Geminis, they tend to overthink. So in regards to their personality, their mind is always racing. So here, their brain can be on 1,000. And because of them always thinking about, over and over, ruminating about things in their mind, they can miss opportunities because of this, because they're constantly analyzing every possibility rather than, simply giving it a chance and, experiencing it. So the overthinking everything, it's like with a Gemini, their mind never stops, okay? So as I said, they can miss those opportunities because they're analyzing all the time. And a lot of times when you try to control everything, or at least you have the desire to control things so much, it takes the fun out of, the experience if you would just take the chance and just go with the flow sometime. So a Gemini could get bored fast because they need constant stimulation. That's why they're very compatible with Libra. But if a Gemini, goes along with something, they don't get that mental stimulation, what can happen is they may feel like this situation is, no good. They can feel like, oh, I'm due for a new partner. This is old already. And they could be quick to withdraw and go on to the next person before even mastering, the relationship or it get into a higher tier where, you get, marriage could be the case, but they won't even allow it to even, work itself up to that experience. So that's why I said with Geminis, both men and women, they can be inconsistent. So here they can change their, plans often. So even if they book them in advance, anything can always change with Gemini. So switching it up is a common thing for Gemini, and it could be the worst thing for somebody that's not used to it because people will simply stop relying on them. Now, another thing with Gemini is they could talk too much. So here, they love conversations with different people, even with people they don't like. So here, it could be a situation where they can't stop yapping. And, I got Black Moon Lilith in Gemini, so I'm probably considered like one of the worst yappers, or I'm very, at least I know that, but like I'm very long-winded. And like I say, I'm just so used to talking so much because I had a job where I had to speak and talk like all the time and answer phone calls. So, when I first started doing it, I didn't like it because I could feel the exhaustion coming off of my body. As you guys see me right now, I'm sweating my ass off, but like I'm so passionate. Appreciate that. Is it Jamelin? Appreciate that star. But it's like I understand like I'm sweating is because it's hot. It's still like 90 degrees even though it's nighttime. But when you're passionate about something, it feels like a game of basketball. You just keep playing and you just be sweaty. That's just you keep going even though you don't even feel tired because it's something you enjoy. So that's why I say, like, me having the Black Moon Lilith and Gemini, I'm probably considered like worse, like put it like the Gemini traits, but then it's like times 3 because it could be the situation where when you have a Black Moon Lilith placement, it's like traits about yourself that you're probably not really too comfortable dealing with or accepting, because you realize that, hey, you know, this could be, you know, a situation that you can't always control it, or it's almost like me, if I try to shut up, I'm going to end up talking even more. So it's like I can't shut up. It's like I have to just like talk. And even if I'm not on not on live, I'm talking even after I get off the live, because I'll call people and it's like I don't really stop talking. It's not really a dull moment, but you know, being a certified yapper is kind of like, you know, in my arsenal. So I'm just used to it now. But and now I ain't gonna lie, I found different ways of, you know, speaking and communicating to the point where I had a situation at Walmart, and the guy was helping me out, but I could tell he was getting annoyed because I kept talking. And I ended up talking him, like, I know I probably talked him into oblivion, but it's like I realized that he had did a huge mistake. So I needed like I was trying to find like a SanDisk drive so I could like store my you know, my videos. Like, remember I told you I had so much space of videos that I needed to that my whole phone is like full. So I needed a damn external drive, like a, you know, portable one. So the man, the craziest thing is that this man opened a damn, like, so at Walmart electronic department, he had opened up the little secure, like the little thing where they got all these security tags, and he put like where all the computers and all that whatnot. Boom. This man was like, I don't know why he did this dumbass thing, but he opened like where all the expensive shit where it was. And this man literally opened that shit. As I was talking to him, I'm like, bro, you don't need to work in the electronics, bro, because somebody could have just came in here and took all this shit, bro. Like, I'm talking about, he went over there and opened up the whole goddamn like $500 items, to where anybody could have just went up in there and just took that shit, bro. To where I'm like, bro, it's like to the point where as I was talking to him, I was asking him, you know, inquiring about the different items and whatnot. Like, hey, you know, is this, you know, this chip, is it really, really quick? And I'm like, you know, trying to get the information. And the craziest thing was, I heard a lady say something. The lady was speaking to him, and I got whiff of it. And I was like, I heard the word like, hey, I'll just take it. And then I heard that, and he laughed, and then it was like some type of inside, they were like having a conversation about, you know, stealing. And I heard the girl say, oh, I'll just take it because it ain't like AP gonna do anything anyway or something. And or loss prevention. And then next thing you know, he was like, oh, I don't give a damn about that. That's not my problem. So the craziest thing was, the man left the damn, like, he left that damn thing, because they got all these new security locks and whatnot now, because a lot of people steal from that store. But I couldn't understand for the life of me why he left that shit open. And then he was like, I said, can I see one of the items? Because the little SanDisk thing, and I'm looking at it, and I really got it in my hand. And then he didn't say nothing. He was just like, he walked off and was helping somebody else. And I'm like, bro, I know good and hell well, because the people I've seen work in that same spot, I've seen them like not even let people hold the item most of the time. So I'm like, bro, how the hell you know you left this damn thing open? And then he tells me, he's like, he didn't even mention it. Then he tells me, oh, by the way, he was like, you gotta pay for everything over here. I said, oh, okay. And then I started talking to him some more. And I could tell he was trying to get away from me because I was talking so much, that he was so annoyed that he didn't even lock the damn thing. He just left the little thing open. And I'm like, bro, you know, anybody could have went over there and took, like, I'm talking about, what they call them, like somebody could have went over there and took all kind of shit, bro. They had fucking um like graphic cards, bro, 5070s, 4070s, like all that shit. That's the cabinet that he opened that was just like, I don't know why he did that dumb shit. But I was getting upset because I'm like, bro, I don't even work here. But I'm like, bro, you know good and hell well you just opened that shit and left it. Like, I just think a lot of workers at these jobs, they just don't give a fuck about their jobs, bro. Like they're probably, who knows? I'm not saying that he's doing, you never know, because I caught him talking to that girl about it, and then she said, oh, she was like, I wish I didn't pay for this. I wish I would have just, walked off. Like, what would a, LP do, in regards, he was like, I don't give a damn. But I'm like, bro, that ain't supposed to happen. So I was just thinking about it, like, and the crazy thing, like, I don't know if y'all following me. I know I'm kind of going on and on about it, but it's just weird that he left that damn cabinet open. And I'm talking about, it was like Ryzen 7s, CPUs. And I'm like, bro, he lucky I'm not that type of person, bro. Cause I'm like, bro, do you know he like, cause if he, bro, you just don't know like how much them shits are, bro. Like a CPU for a Ryzen 7, that shit's like $600. But I couldn't believe that he opened that cabinet and left it open. He just left it open. And I'm like, bro, that in my eyes, I felt like he knew what he was doing, bro. I just felt like he just didn't give a fuck, bro. But another thing is gossipy. So, with Geminis, they love hearing the latest, spilling the tea. And a lot of times this is why they like to have, their options open in regards to still having access to people that they absolutely don't like, because they can get the gossip from different folks. And this is a lot of times why they don't want to just X out these options, or just simply not deal with people that they don't want to deal with because of information, if that makes sense. So the trust could get broken because you don't really know if that's the reason why the Gemini is continuing, to speak to you. Now, Geminis also can get easily distracted. So they love attention. So the minute they get, another interaction, or, they can go, they can go to it, because they like to be attention jumpers in such a way where wherever the most attention that they receive, that is going to be where where they're at. So they can attention jump quickly. Now, I'm gonna tell you, with the curiosity attached to this, because that's usually what makes this, worse, is that if somebody, comes in, smells good, has a, different type of situation, obviously it could, spark up that curiosity. That Gemini could go over there and say, ooh, ooh, who's that, or what's that? And usually, let's say they were just, merely speaking to someone else in that regard, they can end up, not finishing what they said with the other person because, something else got their attention. They could also be impulsive. So, they can act before they think about a situation. So it could be a situation where they're like, hey, send it, it could be a email, something that, you probably need to fine tooth comb through it, take your time. Well, a lot of times they can just rush through paperwork and then later on regret it because they made a fast decision. They love attention. So here they can enjoy being noticed. They like to put on, if it's a female, she likes to put on different outfits. She could be the type that likes to go to the club, the bar, a festival, where it's a lot of people. So at the same time, she can have the high schoolish type of vibe, to where, she might feel like, look at me, I got on these little heels. She might feel like, oh, she's pretty with what she put on for the day. If they, go out, and then she's like, look at my shoes, you like my dress, woo-de-woo-de-woo. And this can create unnecessary drama, because if there's other women involved, It could be a situation that feels like competition, then jealousy can set in. So, you know, it's in those moments. Um, they can be emotionally detached, so they could use their logic over feelings. So they can say things like, I'm good, I'm not worried about it, I'm over it. They could use those type of expressions and phrases, but other people can feel ignored because of it. Now, they can avoid commitment. So with Geminis, they like to keep their options open. They love menus. They love to have, you know, different choices, different, they like to treat people like finger foods. So even if, you know, just the mere fact that it's there and they can choose, that's what they like. They love the most. They love to pick and choose. They don't like nothing to be closed off from them. Like, oh, you can't do this. Like, so if there's rules or boundaries, that's not going to fly for a Gemini. If anything, a Gemini would definitely not listen or not respect the boundaries. So they will always feel like they could do more than they should, if that makes sense. Now, welcome, Thomas Faye. Welcome. How you doing? Welcome everybody else that came in. And see, another thing is they could be, you know, they can miss the meaningful relationships because, you know, let's say somebody really cared about them. Sometimes, you know, a Gemini could laugh it off. It's, you know, let's say someone had their emotions, you know, involved and really thought that that situation was going to go somewhere. You know, only for the Gemini to laugh at them because, you know, sometimes you could be mocked by a Gemini because, as I mentioned, you don't really know what perspective you were met with. So it's almost like if you took them serious when they weren't serious, it could be dangerous for you, embarrassing for you, because then you could have got your feelings involved into something. And a Gemini is feeling like, hey, like I don't owe you anything, or I didn't promise you that we were gonna be like, you know, official in that extent, because that's why I said if you're like a water sign, it's dangerous for you to assume that, oh, we locked in and hey, you know, you my girl, or, you know, if it's a female, she might feel like, you know, saying that to the dude, like, oh, you're, you know, you my guy. And then the Gemini might go along with it, but not be serious to commit, if that makes sense, to where they always have that withdrawal type of option that, you know, at any time, depending on how it feels, if it's, you know, and it all, I'm going to tell you, it's not so much emotion related. It's about the attention. So it's like, if she feels bored in, you know, at any moment where she's not getting that attention, because the type of guy that a Gemini woman will go for is someone that gives her the most attention until he doesn't. So it's like if he slacks off and he's not like showering her the way he was, you know, to get her, she'll drop him and go off to somebody else that she feels really cares, but it's really because they're showing more attention, if that makes sense. So she could get a bad rap for, you know, for just not taking, you know, missing meaningful relationships, you know, because of it, because she's just not taking no one seriously until she is, if that makes sense. Now, she could be very sarcastic. So here she has quick wit, and it's almost like she can come at you and be like, oh, you serious? Like, oh, are you serious now? And your feelings could be your feelings can be hurt unintentionally, because you could think that the Gemini was dead ass. Like, you might be like, oh, we were really, you know, I thought we were together. And this can be something that, you know, it really felt that way, it really looked that way. You know, you guys could have been holding hands, eating dinner, going out. And if she sees like you're all in, like there's no tomorrow, she could be like, why are you so serious? Like, you know, and then she can come at you, you know, and question you in such a way that feels like, it feels like you shouldn't be serious. Like, oh, like, damn, you done got your little heart in this situation, to the point where she would use that and say it like that. And it can embarrass you, because you might have felt like, oh, it was real. And then she'll be like, why you so serious? Why you so like lovey-dovey, and why you all over me? Like, you know, to the point where you might start to reflect and be like, oh, you dirty motherfucker, like I thought we was together. So it's a whole lot of switching up and a whole lot of like games that it could feel like you don't really know like whether she's serious or playing, and it can get to, you know, a situation where you become frustrated, or you just say, you know what, I'm done, because you don't have time to get this whole like window open, window closed type of, you know, behavior. So you know, and that all ties to her restlessness, because she's trying to um keep her options open, but she's not saying that, you know, she's not giving off that cue that she wants to have, you know, her cake and eat it too. So usually Geminis, they need, you know, variety. So if they get a, you know, a pina colada, you know, drink, they gotta have two. It's like if she gets a boyfriend, she has to have two boyfriends. So it's like if one, you know, and it's not because she's a, you know, a whore. It's not that all the time. Sometimes it's because she gets bored with one, and then she feels like, oh, she still wants a man, or still wants a boyfriend or someone to talk to, but she wants to have options. She wants to be able to talk to Chris and Tyrone at the same time, because maybe Tyrone makes her laugh, but then, you know, the other guy, you know, he puts it down in the bedroom, and it's more of an attention type of style of a situation, or relationship that she wants the most. So if you mentally stimulate her, let's say Jerome is the type of person that, you know, he he gets mad, or, you know, you guys argue a lot, that can be you know, some sort of stimulation for her. So you might be the type of person that she confides in, because you keep the whole, you know, the tension going, even though you don't like it. But that could be a form of, you know, playful energy to a Gemini, because they like to keep things light. As soon as you start getting too, you know, lovey-dovey and serious emotionally in the relationship, where you're making it be known that, hey, you're mine, and when they feel like smothered, or they feel trapped, or they feel like locked in with you, they're gonna leave you. It's cold-blooded. They're gonna leave you just to show you that you can't control me, like in such a way. It's like they'll purposely show you like, oh, like they're desired by other men, and you just can't get one for yourself, and like, oh, that's that. Because they feel like they don't want to be vulnerable to you, if that makes sense. Like, you made it happen, you know, called all the shots, you made her submit. Nah, bro. With a Gemini, bro, she is much more clever with that shit, to the point where when you think that you've done everything to keep her, bro, you will realize that you never had her, bro. And that shit will hurt, because you will literally have felt like, you would have felt that shit. It would have felt real. But when you see the face, and I'm talking about the real her, bro, that shit gonna blow your mind, to where, what? You never once took me serious? And it's just, she could be playing with you, and you don't know she's playing with you. That's what I'm trying to say, bro. It's cold-blooded, because it's like she can literally have a poker face. She can be like, she can play the role. She's a great actor, bro. She could be doing everything the housewife would do, everything the girlfriend would do. She would definitely give you the ultimate girlfriend experience. She could give you the best sex that you ever had, bro. And guess what? The shit still ain't it still ain't marriage. It still ain't marriage. Marriage is still ain't, it's not on the table, bro. And it's like, what the fuck is this, bro? You might be like, yo, I ain't never met somebody like this before, bro. That don't know what it's like. You will feel like they don't know what they want, but they do. It's just they want everything, bro. They want everybody. It's like they don't want to just have one person, bro. Nope. And she could be the type of person that has male friends, and they could flock around her all the time. It's like, you may feel like, damn, I never get a alone moment with her. She's always with this male friend, or somebody else is with her. It could be a female, it could be her sister, because she's prone to family and like constantly being neck and neck with her sister, neck and neck with her brother. It could be her her little BFF, and it's like she could come with these attachments, and it's like all that's done to show you that you don't control her or own her. That makes sense. Because she's the type of person, she has to feel free in the mindset of being able to pick and choose that, hey, whether or not she wants more company or not. Now, let's say you're the introverted type of dude. Well, you will have her full undivided attention, because she might feel like, man, why you so quiet, or why you don't, you're not really, because she's going to test you, and she's going to realize like, wow, you're not really moved by what I just did. Oh, she was talking to another dude, excuse me, in front of you. She probably like, oh, you didn't really care, or, she didn't get that reaction out of you. So sometimes, she can become more interested because she's curious. She's trying to figure you out, and you are pretty much on her mind, because she probably notices that, damn, I can't figure this guy out. So that makes her more interested in like, being around you, because she definitely would notice a difference. Now, with the restlessness, like I say, she always needs to move. She always has to get up and do something. She always has to run errands, do all this extra stuff. So she's not the type of person that's all, that's sitting still, not doing nothing. And a lot of times if she feels like, let's say you guys are just at the house watching TV, all of a sudden she wants to get up and go somewhere, go to the store, go outside, So she could be like having that type of, withdrawal, where you guys are in that type of setting where it's just you and her chilling. Now she might be like, I'm out, So boom. A lot of times, worst case scenario, she never feels satisfied, because you could be doing like you might feel like you've done everything already, and you still don't have her like you think you do. Now, this can come off as two-faced, because as I mentioned, she will show different sides to different people. So she might play the girlfriend experience, she could play with that with you, to the point where she ain't really showing you her, her real content. She's not really showing you just how unhappy she is with you, or the fact that she doesn't like certain things about you, but she doesn't show you, so she could keep you the word I'm looking for is like, it's like lead you on. That's the word I was looking for. She can lead you on, because you might think she likes you, she wants to just be with you, and she can show this side to you. But then once she realized that, oh, it got too funny, you still ain't caught on, because Gemini is good at making people look dumb, bro. Because sometimes they might feel like, oh, like you didn't know I was playing, like you didn't know that I wasn't serious. Like, come on, man. And they can brag about that, because it's like, oh, you just had no idea, or you just love me that much, and it's like they're very sarcastic. So it's like a lot of times you could be, they can embarrass you, because once you get knee deep into the situation, at least you thought that, you guys were together. All of a sudden, when you realize that she wasn't serious, and she shows that side to you, you were like, oh shit, now you just played in my face. Like, you ain't even give a damn. Like, damn, we did all that stuff together, and now you showing me your true colors. Like, so now you get this like kind of two-faced type of vibe in your conscious mind. You're like, yo, damn, you ain't even have to talk to me to just play with me like that, right? So another thing is that this can definitely confuse their friends, because it's like, damn, do you really rock with me or you don't? But then they give you mixed signals. So it's like when they don't like you, they're still with you. But then they switch up. They know exactly when to switch up, when to, turn it on and turn it off. Now they could be overconfident, okay? So they can think they can handle, anything or anyone. They're always, going around saying the phrase of, hey, watch this. Um, they can underestimate challenges when things are actually difficult. They can make it seem like, oh, it's a run in the park, it's easy to do. They can interrupt people when speaking. It could be a conversation going on between, two other people that has absolutely nothing to do with them. They could butt in to where, they get excited because they are attracted to conversations. They're attracted to interactions where people are communicating. So as they might see, oh, two people, in a room, just talking, communicating with one another. It could be about football or anything. Well, their approach is to interrupt because they want to be like the most talkative, yapper. It could be any of that, to where they were literally butt in, won't even say, hey, not to cut you off, or hey, sorry, or nothing. They'll just interrupt and say, hey, I'm hungry. Like, anybody cooking, or somebody got some chips, and it could be rude. And they don't give that's the thing with Gemini, bro. They do not give a fuck, bro. And it's hard to tell that they don't, because when they would interrupt a group of people that were, interacting, and it's just like this person just entered the room and just took over, verbally, to where all of a sudden everybody stopped talking, and now they just gave the Gemini woman, or or man, the floor. And it's like all of a sudden everybody's like, wow, we were just in here talking and we just let them just come, dominate the whole room socially. So that could be the situation. Now, here's another problem with Gemini, though, is that they're easily influenced. Okay, so it doesn't really take much to really, deter them, influence them. They can become easily distracted by this because, yeah, as I mentioned, they get excited when, people are interacting with one another. So I'm gonna tell you why. It's because of them being, their curiosity. So they get curious about new ideas and just new topics, and this stimulates them mentally. So boom, they might go along with things easily, like, hey, let's go smoke, let's go to the park, let's roll up. And then, like I say, they can become, swayed easily, persuade in such a way where they're, if you sound convincing, and boom, group of y'all going somewhere, then the Gemini will be, willingly wanting to come along to the situation, the event. So boom, I say this to say that even if you giving, them bad advice, a lot of times you can, they can be the first one to be, laced, or, you can end up putting something in their stuff and they won't even know, because they're just going along with the flow of you guys speaking and, speaking and conversing with one another. Now, I'm gonna tell you why this happens often, because they don't like routines. So if they feel like, oh, that's going to open up doors for, new people, new opportunities, new ideas, new conversation, so be it. So I'm going to tell you, because they crave variety. So the same thing over and over again, it gets old. See, even if you are a good person to them, they don't care. See, now they can change their opinions often. So as I mentioned, when you're dealing with a person like this, Gemini, like I say, you got a person with two different perspectives. That's what the twins mean. And see, they can change their opinions often, so they can see multiple perspectives, not even just their own. See, now what this actually does for Gemini, it causes problems because it makes them unreliable. Now, the craziest thing that a lot of people don't know about Gemini, it doesn't matter if they're healthy or unhealthy, evolved or unevolved, is that they are prone to take the advice of someone else, meaning family. So let's say a Gemini is with you, just to show how much they don't give a fuck. They could be with you, let's say maybe they've been, in a relationship with you for quite some time, right? Only till their mother tells them how, oh, I don't approve of the person you're with, I don't like her, I don't like him. And they give their 2 cents to the Gemini, but you do what you want to do because you're grown, and this is the person that you're that, you know, you chose to talk to, guess what? As I just said, they will listen, change their, you know, they'll change their opinion often. They will listen to the person. They are prone to taking bad advice, bro. Bad advice, bro. You can look at Donald Trump and what's his name? Like, I don't really keep up with that type of stuff, like, mostly, but I do know how often Donald Trump changes his mind. See, he'll you know, he'll go along with something and then he'll go, you know, end up going back and forth. So that's the whole you know, analogy to the driving stick shift, driving with both feet. So it's like, you know, he can pivot back, go forward, and people don't even notice it. It's like he gets a pass, you know, they excuse it. Now, another thing is okay, so another thing is the perspectives. Now, a lot of times they do it if they're bored already. They could be more hip to this, is more prone to going along with someone else's opinion. So it's like, oh, they factor in other people's perspectives. But like I say, especially if they're family, okay? So another thing, they could, you know, overpromise. So here they could get excited. Then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I got you, and we're going to do this. When your birthday comes, you know, we're going to go out. We're going to go travel here. They can make all these, you know, good plans with you and then not deliver. See? So that could go from the whole, yeah, one perspective was, yeah, you know, agreeable, and then the other perspective didn't agree. See? So you got to understand that usually the other, not the first, see, the one that you can see, the first perspective is usually the shield. Okay, this is like the best depiction that I like to give. It makes it easier for you to understand Gemini. And remember, you're dealing with a pair of worse, and then, like I say, even. So it's like one perspective is evil, but the other perspective is even worse, if that makes sense. So you got to understand that what lies in, like, what is the balance in that type of, with those two perspectives? And there is none, because they can already be off the chain. Just the side they show you on a day-to-day, that can be enough, that can be hard enough to, you know, to, as far as the energy and the behaviors, it could take a long time for you to adapt to that. And then all of a sudden, the whole not giving a damn, not giving a F, that perspective means they're capable of doing anything, even something dangerous. They don't need no warning. They don't need no reason. They don't need, as soon as they get bored, it's curtains, bro. So it could be like a person that says, hey, you know, you got jury duty Friday. I'm going to give you a ride. And then they wake up that morning and now they just don't do it. Just don't deliver. And it ain't nothing you can do. You can't even say, yo, you said this. Just don't give a damn about breaking their word at any time. They can just withdraw to the point where they're here. You guys are making plans together, and then nothing gets done. So it's like they could get a bad rap for being, you know, unreliable. Now, another thing is they can overthink text messages. So here they can, you know, read between the lines often, and here, like, they may ask themselves, you know, hypothetically, like, what do they mean? You know, they could be saying this out loud as they're reading your text messages. This could create unnecessary stress. Now, they hate being bored. I have to say this because they need excitement, bro. So whoever they deal with has to be someone they have fun with, ultimately. Otherwise, they will look at the situation of the person and say, oh, this situation is dead. It's time to move on. They no longer get any type of, you know, humor, fun, and entertainment from that person whatsoever. So this can make them make those I don't give a fuck choices to the point where their other perspective is reckless choices for entertainment. Like, I'm going to tell you, and y'all can, I know it might sound like I'm being, like, you know, biased, or, oh, man, you just, you know, you're fucking just a fucking, you know, going in on the Geminis because you had, you know, you got hurt or by one. No, bro. I'm trying to tell you, like, I really got this shit down to a T, bro. I done figured it out. I realized that with the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, bro, it's not what people think, bro. It's two different perspectives. So when you watch the documentary, you're, put it like this, when you watch the documentary of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, appreciate the happy poo, Misty. And see, when you watch the documentary, you start to look at Dr. Jekyll, and he's a whole different person from Mr. Hyde. So the problem is, it's almost like it's the same person though. It's just that this person has two perspectives. It feels like you're dealing with two different people, but in reality, it's only one person. So if you look at Dr. Jekyll, he would get frustrated about things. If something didn't go right, this man would snap, go off, break shit, throw shit down. And it's like he would have that staggering effect to where he did not want to show people that evil side when he just didn't give a fuck. So if you look at Mr. Hyde, he didn't give a fuck, bro. He'd be in there drunk, walking around, doing all kind of just crazy, reckless shit. And ain't nothing you could do about it. Nope. So that's why I say, like, when you dealing with the behaviors of a Gemini, it would feel like you're dealing with two different people, but you would be like, damn, you know, where's the good side? Like, where's the good behavior? There is none. You will be lucky. Man, listen, bro, if you got a Gemini right now and they don't show nothing of what I'm saying, you're considered one in a million. See, you probably got Ashanti playing up on the radio, or, you know, I said Ashanti, but I meant to say, I forgot her name, but you, one in a million. It's rare to find a Gemini that's not like that, bro. Rare. Because, bro, a Gemini could be the type of person where they go to church every day. Not every day, but Sundays, boom, they go Wednesdays for Bible study. But then they might not have no interest in church whatsoever, but they dress up and go because you go, or you want them to go. Let's say that's your partner. But then it's like they have no interest in that. But here's the thing. Purposely, just because they don't give a fuck, let's say you go to church Sunday, but what about Monday and the rest of the week? Guess what? That Gemini might have a flask full of fucking liquor, and they'd be a complete alcoholic. And it's like, oh shit, like you drinking and turning up and partying like you did what? Like you're not a Christian. It's like, damn, dude. Like, which one are you? Like, damn, because it would tell you. That Gemini will turn the fuck up, bro, to the point where you would never believe that they were doing the other thing. But it's because the perspective, bro. You don't never know what that Gemini really wants out of life for people, because it's like their mind. You know how they say when a woman got a big booty, it's like her butt, you know, just does what it wants. Well, to a Gemini, their mind does what it wants. And it's just like, it's there, it just does what it wants. And it's like, you just can't tell, like, through their facial expressions or emotions, like, hey, you know, I'm mad or I'm upset, or hey, I'm bored. They could be looking like they having the time of their life and be bored as shit, bro. And then they can be telling their sister, their brother, oh, he's so freaking corny, or yeah, he's boring as fuck. And literally the side she shows you is like, you think she's laughing with you, she's laughing at you, if that makes sense. It's like they're very quick-witted to the point where, bro, they can literally fool you, and it's like, oh, you think that they rocking with you, and they're not. It's it's crazy. Now, another thing is, like I said, they can make reckless choices for entertainment. They love debating. So here they enjoy mental challenges. So it's like, if they're mentally bored about the situation, right, they would purposely start an argument. Now, Now you may look and say, well, damn, that is two perspectives. Like, damn, most people know better not to argue because it can lead to fights, chaos. But you gotta think, we're dealing with what planet here? What's all behind this? Mercury, right? So yeah, Mercury is one of the most destructive, planets. And the influence that it has on freaking Gemini and Virgo is like what? They didn't come and tear some shit up, just to have some fun. They didn't come in to play it safe and emotionally and all, calm. Nah, bro. They don't give a damn, bro. They don't give a damn. So here's the thing. They will purposely start an argument just because they're bored. Like, they will literally crash the fuck out because they're bored. Meaning, they can literally do something on purpose, spill a drink in your car, knowing that shit gonna piss you the fuck off. And they did it on purpose because they were bored. They just feel like fighting and arguing with you just to get some stimulation, like just the whole, just because they were that so fucking bored, they would literally pick on you. They would talk shit. They would do things. They would cuss you out. They would punch you. They would spill things in your car. They'll do all of that. And you would be like, what made you do that shit? That's weird. That's toxic. What made you throw the fucking juice on the floor? And it's like, you might be thinking like that's immature, but do you think that Gemini cares? No, they don't. See, now, this is the thing. They could turn conversations into fights because of it. So here, it's like, damn, you started this argument with me, and who's benefiting? Based off of your reaction to it, the Gemini. See? Because they caused it. Now, they can change their interests quickly. So here, they love learning, and it could be whatever that's consists of or related to. So definitely, they could be prone to new hobbies. And like I say, they can be so many different, this is the crazy part. They can be so many different things and not master one. See? And not master one, not become an expert of it. So yeah, they could go out there and do all these different things with their life and not amount, not master one. One of the interests, not master one interest. See? That's why I say, like, the hardest thing, and I will say, like, it's sad at the same time because you got a lot of people that just can't focus on one thing and conquer and master that one thing first before you do those other interests. Because, it's easy for you to want to do a bunch of different, things. And, you might have a whole spreadsheet of goals that you want to do, but you got to do one at a time and master one at a time, like until you complete it, the masterpiece. And then it's like, okay, now what's next? Okay, now I'm gonna go do, master a whole nother thing. But if you got so many interests and you try to do them all at once, you're not gonna finish one. See? So that's just my little, correlation to it. Now, another thing is they can overreact to rumors. See? So they're very curious about information. But if that information if it has excuse me, if that information has to do with them, it's a problem for them. Because one thing is, if it's a rumor or something going around about them, they ain't gonna like it. So they're very curious about the information. So if they hear something about them through the grapevine, their favorite phrase is for real, like what, like that. And then all of a sudden, they could be prone to spread misinformation. See, so you got to understand, because sometimes Gemini is good at getting information out of people. So if they feel like you got something to do, or let's say they feel like you're sitting on information that they could use, they're very good at spreading misinformation to get the right information, if that makes sense, because they know how to get you talking, And see, another thing about Gemini that also, ties into their restless energy is they don't slow down. See, they don't slow down. And this can be even in regard to them driving. They can have road rage. They could be the type of person that, rides the right lane to where, they're so quick in a rush to get, get past everyone. So they might be driving and then just veer off into the right lane and not make a right turn. And then once the light turn green, they want to hurry up and hit the gas and get over in front of everyone. So they can be a type of person that drives, 80 and a 40, not giving a fuck, just driving reckless. I knew a Gemini, bro. This man, bro, he actually died. He had his own workout company. He had his own little gym, and this man, he was successful, and he was young, and I went to school with him. And next thing you know, man, you know what I'm saying? All right, I pay my condolences, RIP to him, bro. But this man, bro, was like he used to be super, super heavy in high school. He lost all that weight, bro. Like he really went in that workout type of he had it's called Taylor Fitness is what he created, bro. And the craziest thing was that he would always, get those type of motorcycles, the ones you do like the tricks with. And he would do all them little stunts and with no helmet, no freaking body armor or nothing, no type of, motorcycle gear. The man would just be driving fast as fuck, like in the 30, just going on the motorcycle, not giving a damn, bro. Hitting wheelies, doing crazy stuff. Just, you could tell, like, damn near you watch them, you be like, them playing with your life, bro. Any moment you can hit a pothole or something, or, a small rock and go flying somewhere. And the crazy thing was, he had an old school BMW. This is how he died. You probably can find it on YouTube or the news, or as far as my city is concerned. But the crazy thing is that he was driving. Now, this type of street that is like Silver Spring in my city and whatnot. And the way everybody, the crazy thing is that this particular road is like it's created badly to the point where it has been a lot of accidents in that one spot where he died. So if you try to speed, it's like you probably can't stop. You probably can't stop in time, like if that makes sense, because it's like a merge that takes place, and it's like you really got to come to a complete stop. Then it's like all these cars coming from from a blind spot where you could barely see the cars that come past from the little merged little spot. So anyway, the man was driving, and he did one of them stunt devil type moves that he always be doing. And he started going like 100 in a BMW truck, or old school. And he lost control of the wheel. And he freaking like smashed into a one of the mom and pop dealership type of fence little areas. And as soon as he crashed into the thing, the whole car exploded. Was like full of flames. And he died in the fire and shit, bro. Just crazy, bro. Like, it was like one of them closed casket type of experiences. And then like they was just saying like people that witnessed it, they was just like, bro, he literally, it looked like he was headed in that direction, like as if it was a suicide, because they said the car was like gliding, and then like he didn't even make no signal, nothing. He just went straight into the damn fence of the dealership, and the car just just blew up like that, bro, full of flames. And this is how I see it, is that like when you do the stunt devil type moves, bro, it's like it come a time when it ain't gonna work all the time, bro. Like you be knowing like, dude, that shit ain't safe at all, bro. Like I've done it before, and I've realized that what wasn't a smart idea. And it's like I remember a friend of mine, he had was it a 1987 Buick Regal, and he had little rims on there at the time and a sound system. And that car was fast as hell, but we was on a highway, bro. Dude started going like 100 miles an hour for no reason, bro, just trying to show off with the car. And bro, I'm talking about, man, you could feel your back like kind of like easing up off the goddamn like back of the seat, like as the car's just sitting there just going quick, bro. And I was like, bro, that shit scared the fuck out of me, bro, when he did that. I was like, bro, stop, bro, stop. Because I'm like, bro, I could feel my heart beating like super fast. The windows were down, and it was just like that wind was just like hitting us so fucking hard. And I'm like, bro, and he was just literally just swerving through the fucking lanes. I'm like, bro, that's too fucking dangerous, bro. Anybody could just, stop and hit their brakes in front of you and you go flying, bro. So like, that's that. Now, like I say, that tied into what I was gonna say, that they don't slow down. Okay, so they can always be thinking, they can always be curious to try things, do things. So that ties in with the whole stunt devil maneuvers on the motorcycle, what I mentioned. Even when it's not on a motor vehicle or a bike, they could you know always be thinking about stuff, just try stuff, food, it could be anything. So they can burn themselves out because of this as well. Now they could be nosy. So with Geminis, they can be like, what's going on? They can always have that phrase of what happened, what's going on, who y'all talking about. And it's like with the nosiness, they want to know everything. So even if it ain't got nothing to do with them, they still want to know the information. And a lot of times they would do this and it would cross boundaries. One thing with Gemini, when it comes to boundaries, is that they maneuver around boundaries, because a person that won't shut up, they keep talking, and that if you respond, what does that force you to do? It forces you to explain, which I said is a big, no, because you start to over explain and then you overshare. See, when you overshare, you end up dissolving your own boundary. So they could cross boundaries, and that could be something in relation to them being nosy. Now they love surprises, so they love getting gifts where they didn't expect it. Especially on Valentine's Day, they enjoy spontaneity. So different types of things, different moments, type of experience. They will be up for this, and they love making risky decisions. So their opposite polarity is Sagittarius. So they're definitely oriented to where, hey, they might have reckless sex with different partners. They might be poly. They might want to try like threesome, foursomes with no protection, and just knowing that, oh, it's fun, it's funny, look at him, look at her, all these different people experiences. And like I say, they're all in for the thrill, the excitement, the it's like they like to be in situations where they don't know what they're going to get into, just because they have that whole different, the versions of themselves that they don't always show people. So you could be caught off guard by their interest, because like you could be thinking that they'd stay in and Netflix and chill and go get some some food and just hang out and talk. But then like if you take them to a strip club, they might be more advanced in that experience, and you might feel like, damn, you really behaving like you've been here before, like this ain't your first time. And it's just like, once they tell you like, yeah, I actually go, I've went several times, and like you just don't know, and you like, oh shit, because they could give you that whole like innocent vibe, to where she could be like, she could be the classy, she could dress classy, and then that could throw you off, to where you go to a twerk event where, hey, it's like a little party for younger people, and then she literally takes off her her little heels, her little classy heels, and she down on the dance floor doing all kind of swoosh booty twerking moves that you like, damn, you hitting them little your little rump shaking like you done this before, like you're not new to this. And she be like, yeah, like, yeah, I've always been dancing, and I've been doing this for some time. And you be looking like, I could see, like, now you get all nervous, because you like, wait a minute, like I just seen her in these classy outfits. Now you mean to tell me she didn't just adapted to this, or she been doing this? And that's the thing that gets you. you gotta know she's been there already, bro. She's a jack of all interests, trades. The girl knows how to do a lot, bro. Even if it's a man, he's done a lot. I'm gonna tell you, it's crazy. Like, I know a Gemini guy that was a friend of mine. And the crazy thing was he wanted to talk to this Libra. We were at the little pizza joint working. And the Libra was like flirting with him and whatnot. And this man told me, he was like, man, he was like, I'm a smasher. I was like, no, you're not. I said, do you gonna smash her right now? He was like, yeah, yeah. He was like, watch. And he was like, I'm a smasher in the work vehicle. And I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, that's some risky, gutsy ass shit. This man, he literally did smash her just like he said he was. The man came back and was like, look, smell my fingers, bro. He was like, smell my fingers. I was like, hell no, I ain't smelling your goddamn fingers. And he was dead ass serious, bro. And I'm like, that's nasty, bro. Like, didn't give no fucks, bro. He just literally didn't care. And he took that opportunity, like, and he was like, yeah, I had to get that, bro. I'm like, bro, your ass wild, bro. But that's just like how quick, like, they become curious and they want to do something right away. Bro, they'll mess around, take a girl in the back room at the job. It don't matter. They'll go outside behind a damn fucking building. They don't be caring, bro. They don't have to have no bed, bro. They don't have to have no situation set up to where, you know, oh, that's the way we gonna do it in a traditional, you know, hotel or something. Nah, they don't even need no hotel, bro. They'll go do it anywhere. And see, another thing is they're hard to impress. So, you know, they need mental stimulation. It can feel like, you know, it's never enough. They're never satisfied. And they would challenge you. They'd be like, oh, that's it. That's all you got. Like, oh, like, you know, damn, you think that all I want from you is just this? What else? And it's like they can challenge you because what if you're just not that, you know, that hip, or you're just not that entertaining to where, yeah, you probably do just a little bit and you content, but her, she need constant, you know, noise and just attention, just stuff. And it's like, here's the thing. She needs, even if it's just tension. The crazy thing is, if she can't get the mental stimulation that she's looking for, she'll settle for recklessness. She'll settle for tension. She'll settle for an argument. She'll settle, like, because that's like, oh, at least I'm still getting stimulated off that, you know. She needs energy based from attention, okay? So it's like, if she doesn't get that, she can be, or put it like this, if she doesn't get that, it can seem like impossible to satisfy her. Cause she ain't gonna just go for the sex, bro. It ain't, you gotta have more than that, bro. That ain't gonna even, she could play with your heart in a way you don't even get the damn sex. Yeah, she could talk. I'm telling you, bro, you can literally talk your way out of it too, bro, with her. Like, you could talk so much to her, you be fucking exhausted to even do anything in the bedroom with her. She could be judgmental. So here, you know, she can have quick observations of, you know, you doing this, or you did this to me, you're a freaking piece of shit. You know, she could call you names because she observed you doing something, and she's quick to, you know, call you out and just judge you for it. But if she does it, it's no problem. Like, oh, like she thinks that she gets excused for being a female, or, you know, that, hey, that don't apply to me. But she could do things in such a way where she tries to act like, oh, she knew all along. Like, oh, so when she becomes judgmental, she makes those quick observations. She could say, oh, I already know you're cheating. I already know you've been talking to other girls, and she doesn't know. But she always tries to make herself feel like and seem like she's been like hip to the information, like, so that she doesn't have to feel like she's been left in the dark about something, if that makes sense. Remember, even if she doesn't know or have access to the information, she'll at least act like she does so that she could get the truth out of you, if that makes sense. So she definitely can become defensive. So here, she doesn't like criticism. So if you say something to her, like I say, it's okay for her to call you names or, you know, make fun of you or be sarcastic. But if you say something about her, like them, you know, especially things like such as, you know, or phrases like, hey, you talk too fucking much, why don't you shut the fuck up? You say things like that to her, oh, that perspective is gonna change, it's gonna switch like the 2 feet with the whole stick shift. She gonna go off to where you gonna be like, and she gonna be like, stop talking to me like that. Like, who the fuck you talking to? Like, she will go off on you. So she definitely would be like, who the fuck you talking to? You ain't talking to me like that. Watch your fucking mouth. Like, she could really escalate like a small disagreement and blow it all the way up to the damn Twin Towers. Like, you'd be like, damn, but you do this to me all the time. Appreciate the gold coin animal shorts. And see, she hates being controlled, okay? He or she. They value freedom. Like, they always have this type of mentality. You're not my boss, even if you're their boyfriend or, you know, or girlfriend. They always mix things up where they create tension, because you could be their boyfriend or girlfriend, and then all of a sudden they rebel and go against what you know, require, or just simply ask of them. They feel like they can't do it because in their mind, you ain't my boss. You ain't my boss. You ain't my boss. So it's like impossible to even be committed to them because they won't commit. Because they will always be thinking, oh, you trying to boss me around. Oh, there you go. You trying to do it your way. Oh, are you really trying to tell me what to do? Oh, you know, like, oh, you tell me to, you know, you don't tell me to stay in the house and whoop-de-woo. So they can be prone to rebelling against good advice, bro. And here's the problem. You would think, damn, wouldn't you think that a Gemini would, you know, listen to it, good advice? Nope. But they'll take the bad advice all day fucking long, bro. Like, Gemini is prone to hanging out with fake people. See, because a lot of times she's just so freaking, she's going to go along with anything that seems like attention, noise, tension, gossip, conversation, and that gets her going. But the problem is she's prone to taking bad advice. But then with the good advice, she turns that down ASAP. Like, if you try to give her any type of good advice, like, hey, I think you should do this, you know, maybe, you know, there's jobs out there. You could go, you know, to college and get a trade, or, you know, become a nurse, doctor. You don't got to be out here, you know, selling your cat. You don't have to strip. And you could be trying to, like, look out for her best interest. And guess what? You're not my boss. Don't tell me what to do. I'm doing my own thing. And yeah, I probably make more money than you. And, you know, oh, you can't stop me. I'm doing what, you know, it's just like, just forget it. Just forget it. Cause they ain't gonna listen, bro. And they can get easily excited, bro, by things. So it's like a kid that has like a birthday celebration. They can love new opportunities. So as like I say, going back with the variety, they can get excited when they see a new person. They could be the type of person that hates their job, hates the people there, but guess what? Now they're excited because some new people got hired. Now they're like, oh yeah, you know, we got new people. And it's like, I know you ain't excited. You don't even like the goddamn job. You don't even like the people here. Half the time now you want to be all excited because someone new came along. So they very prone to like new situations. They're always the one that wants to experience it first, if that makes sense. So they be like, let's go. They could be stoked with that type of situation. But here's the problem. They jump into new situations too quick. It's cold-blooded. It's cold-blooded. See, just as they withdraw too quick, they jump into situations too quick. Just because, oh, somebody new that came along, they're quick to harp on it real quick. And then they talk shit, and then they end up talking themselves out of it because they done jumped in so quick. It's like now, a week later, the same guy that she fell in love with to replace Joey, now she talking shit about him. Oh yeah, you motherfucking ain't doing this. Yeah, you ain't gonna be talking to me, you lazy as fuck. Like, they could really slander a person and say all kind of just nicky, you know, just nitpick to the point where It's like a little snapping turtle just chopping off your fingers as they're, as they're talking about you, to the point where they can literally get with you and then you're nothing within a week. Like, damn, that was quick. We just met. Y'all could have went out and took pictures together. You guys were out there, doing vintage photos and shit, having a nice little dinner. And next thing you know, it's over with in a week or two. That quick. That's how fast a Gemini can be with you one moment and gone the next, bro. And not giving two fucks about how you feel. Because guess what? They don't feel shit. What the fuck? The lights just went out like that for? But yeah, another thing is, they overcommit, and see, they can say yes too often that they don't say no when they should. That's another little thing, because listen, when you trying to hide the real you, you're prone to saying yes too often because you ain't setting no goddamn boundaries. That's why people take advantage of Gemini, bro. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of times a person can be like, they'll, say something to a Gemini, and a Gemini be like, oh, I got it. I know what you're talking about. And they quick to go along with the plan and the agenda that they don't question it. See, because they so freaking excited, they get too excited, if that makes sense. It's almost like, damn, you were a little too happy. See, for this new opportunity, this new situation, this new person, this new whatever it may be, to the point where they're like, oh, they're already overcommitted once they feel that way. Now, here's the thing. They think too fast, but they don't slow down enough to actually think things through to know whether they should or should not do it. So they lack the discernment. And here's the thing, because with two perspectives active, they process everything too quick. So that means that they may say on the outside, looking in, oh, I already figured it out. No, you didn't. See, because I'm telling you, Geminis are prone to lying, because you can't even process nothing like that too fast. And then they say, oh, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I'd figured out. Yeah, I got you. No, they just be talking, bro. And people be believing them, bro. They just be talking. Ain't nobody, listen, when they do this, a lot of people just nod their heads and they just be like, oh, damn, they smart. Yeah, man, she said she already knew what I was saying. No, she didn't. Remember I said they'll do that just to get you to, reveal the information that they missed, but they don't want to tell you, like, oh, they don't really know, or they don't really, understand you, if that makes sense. So sometimes, like I say, with the important details, they can miss them. But then when you hear it from their mouth, they'll try to act like they know every goddamn thing when they weren't even listening to the details. So what this ties into with the whole tension is they love to be right. See, even when they're wrong. So the confident in their ideas, and the whole favorite phrase that they have is, I told you. See, I told you. Aha, I told you it was going to happen. They like to be right. I told you it was going to do this. Oh, yeah, I told you that was going to happen. It's like to the point where the arguments can even last longer. Because that whole I told you, and some people have that type of, defensiveness towards that, to where it's like, oh, they don't want to be told, they don't want to be told that I told you so. And in that regard, so like I say, the arguments can last longer from a Gemini doing this, always having to be right. Now, they don't like to listen fully. So he or she is impatient to let someone else speak. So it's almost like as soon as you start to speak, it's like they're trying to rush you through your words, and it's like they're just so quick to want to speak again. It's almost like they're already thinking ahead. So as you're speaking, they're already thinking ahead about what they gonna say, that they not even listening fully to what you're saying, if that makes sense. So here they can brush you off, they can rush you through your words or your story or whatever whatever you're going to say to them, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, yeah, oh yeah. It's like, and that could come off as rude, but a lot of people don't catch on to it because they think the Gemini just, like they get it or something. It's like, no, remember I said they could pretend like they get it, but they really don't know what the fuck you were talking about because they wasn't listening. See, so the thing about it, they could try to, rush you through your words and be like, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah, I know. Right. Rush you through your words. But then this is how they end up later misunderstanding people because they wasn't listening. See, so they could become too curious to the point where that type of curiosity killed the cat. So here it could be a situation where they want answers. But you remember I said it's not about always knowing the answers. Sometimes you have to be, you got to settle for not getting the answer. But with Gemini, they want the answer. They must have it, in other words, even if it costs them something. So they might have the type of feeling that, hey, I got to know, I have to know this. What happened? Something happened at work. They wasn't there. They won't wait for what happened. They must know. So they could get involved in unnecessary drama that don't have nothing to do with them. They could change their mood quickly. So here they can become, emotionally adaptable, but the problem is it's only to the things that they want to become emotionally adaptable to. They also can feel like, oh, I'm over it. Maybe it could be a situation where they might feel like, hey, I'm cool now and I'm not mad anymore. So other people can feel like they can't keep up because they haven't even processed what just happened yet. And the Gemini is already communicating that, oh, I'm cool now. But y'all was just arguing and fighting like, what, 2 minutes ago. So another thing with Gemini, now this is the craziest thing that I gotta say, is they are easily tempted. So this is why they are prone to cheating quickly in relationships, because they don't want to say no. And another thing is that because they want to experience, they want the variety. So they love to try new things, bro. Never forget this. They love to try new things, even if that's a different partner. See, there ain't no boundary. So there's nothing that they're going to say, oh, no, I shouldn't do this, because they don't care. So here in their mind, you only live once. See, and in their mind, why not? Okay, and they get offered something. So it's kind of like a situation where if they were on a diet and ice cream came up on the menu, in their mind, they're getting the ice cream, bro. Even though they're on a diet, even if they're committed to something, everything stops right there in the moment because, oh, I don't want to lose the opportunity of trying this new ice cream. And that could be the whole thing that tempted them to, to break their commitment with their workout or whatever it was, because the Gemini will be like, oh, if the person worded in such a way like, oh, this is the new blueberry cream ice cream, or, this just came out or something, you should try some. Even after the Gemini says, oh, I've been working out, all of a sudden, this can make the Gemini more prone to making poor decisions because they always have to do something new. Even if it's new ice cream, even if it's a new thing, a new restaurant, a new place to go, a new car. Sometimes they might have a car already. They go trade it in because they want the newest thing that's out. They just got to have it, even if they return it. It's almost like, damn, you just always got to do something new. Because I'm going to tell you another thing. It's because a lot of times they want to avoid deep emotions, so they like to distract themselves from experiencing them. So it could be a situation where they might say to themselves, constantly speaking, that they're straight, but then all of a sudden the problems begin to build over time. See, now another thing is like I say, with Jeffrey Dahmer, he more likely had the shadow traits. So that's the little difference there. And like I say, Jeffrey Dahmer, he relied on the strategy, obviously. So all his deception, isolation, vulnerability, and control, these were all all tied into his strategy that he relied on. So it was like he would offer money, you know, for photographs of or companionship with these men, and he persuaded them to go somewhere, you know, private, in other words. So all these little moments of what led up to this was done through what? Communication. Okay. Now, the craziest thing that we learned from this, as this is a high level form of, you know, the things that I mentioned in Jeffrey Dahmer's behavior. Appreciate you coming out, Keisha 2K. Subscribe if you haven't. You said, oh, I need communication. Yeah, now like I say, this is just a video for people to understand Gemini, because a lot of people don't understand Gemini. And like I say, it's like to the point where they have a high high level of intellect here, because what the Gemini teaches you the lesson to set boundaries no matter what, bro, because you got to say no, bro. Like, even if you hanging out with a Gemini and you don't want to do something that they got going on, you got to separate yourself, because obviously you're going to do it. You're going to do it. See, and Geminis are good at sharing, you know, the opportunities. So if they, you know, let's say they meet a guy and they already got one, and they feel like the guy they're with doesn't communicate enough, but then they get all the communication from this other dude. Guess what? They're going to talk to the other dude too. But now, if he got a friend, she's going to introduce the other friend that got a man to his friend. So now they both doing, you know, it's like they both not faithful. Because one thing with Gemini is he or she can help you, you know, end up having variety too. So imagine if you are Pisces, or just somebody that don't really have, you know, strong boundaries all the time. This could get your ass in trouble, bro. You could be like getting into a situation, having a Gemini friend can make you end up messing up if you're not strong enough to say no. So you have to be like, some things you just have to, you know, you have to be disciplined. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all this high level of a strategy, of a sequence that Jeffrey Dahmer used. Now, I must say, a lot of Geminis have strategies, bro, of how to even get to know people. So a lot of time, all this shit be already planned and you just don't know it. See, you just don't know it yet. So with Jeffrey Dahmer, like I say, the first thing he did was he approached someone with a believable offer. See, that's the first thing he did. He used money, conversation, photography, or companionship to appear harmless. It's cold-blooded. See, then he gained enough trust to reach a private location, bro. He used that whole offer and he got the trust right there, because boom, oh, I'm gonna give you this amount of money to, you know, take these photographs with the woo. Then they agreed to it, so now he got the trust. See how I said, bro? I said that if you don't set boundaries, that is what you forfeit, the trust. That's the whole reason why you met with the facade and the illusion. And that's why those come off as what? Perspectives. See? So it's almost like the Gemini to a Pisces can be your arch enemy, not by choice, but by default. It's almost like the balance of energies are already out of whack, to where once they approach you, you have to set boundaries to not be hurt by a Gemini. You have to say no. Because, bro, they will listen, bro. I'm going to tell you really quick. They could take somebody without boundaries and throw them over, bro. And it's almost like they can really have you doing stuff that you didn't want to do, have you saying stuff that you probably shouldn't have said, have your ass in trouble, in other words, at their expense. Now, another thing he did was, like I said, he gained enough trust to reach a private location. So the danger here was that this increased once the person was separated from their friends, the crowd, and the witnesses. Just getting them by themselves, right? Next thing he did, he used intoxicants, like I say, giving them a beer that was laced with drugs. And see, another thing, like I say, he drugged the victims. But the crazy thing is he planned this, bro. So it's almost like he knew exactly what they were gonna do before he even concocted this. He already knew, oh, you're gonna do this, then you're gonna do this, then he gonna, then I'm gonna have this, he gonna take it because I'm already, I've already given him, and it's like, bro, all this shit going on in a person's mind that overthinks. Ain't no way you can know what somebody gonna do and how they gonna behave, off top. So he controlled the environment. Being inside his apartment gave him privacy and made escape or the intervention less likely. You were, put it like this, a person was cooked if they went inside his apartment, bro. That right there is like a huge, like a stranger type of situation. Now, he relied on the secrecy afterwards, so he separated the incidents that were not immediately connected. See? And this is why when they tried to investigate, they failed. See? Because they didn't have no evidence. He already cleaned it up. The strategy already wiped the evidence. So the investigators, they didn't find nothing at first. So here, this allowed him to continue. See? Then when he was finally stopped was when a victim escaped. It's cold-blooded. See? So here, with the whole dude, the Tracy Edwards dude, he escaped. But then, and like I say, if it wasn't, this is the craziest shit, bro. Could you imagine if this man didn't notify police, bro? That Gemini would have fucked, man. He would have tore some, man. He would have probably done some crazy ass, worse shit than what he already was doing, bro. So he ended up, flagging down police, led officers back to Dahmer's apartment, and the evidence was right there. The only reason Jeffrey Dahmer got caught is because somebody escaped. And a lot of people were saying, I ain't gonna say that, but it's crazy that the only way for him to escape, I know y'all people was gonna say, oh, what you going to trying to say he was a Pisces? No, I don't know if he was a Pisces, but it's crazy that the only way he got caught was because the boy escaped. It's crazy. He escaped, so that means, like, in my mind, damn, Gemini, you never thought about nobody escaping. That was the whole thing. See, you gotta know that anything you're not thinking about is what can bring the ending to your cycle. You got to think on every scale, not just two perspectives of worse and what, Dumb and Dumber. You got to look at the good and the bad and the ugly. And see, that's why I just never understood criminals, bro. Like to that extent, like, bro, you got to factor in how much time you will get if you get caught doing what you're doing, to where you got to stop at some point, bro. But that's the only reason he kept doing it. He got comfortable with it. Now, another thing is, like I say, he just relied on deception, y'all, isolation, and he was dealing with vulnerable victims, bro. These people didn't have no boundaries, bro. Because even a lot of people's, the situation was very questionable. People were saying, well, damn, what did he even tell him? Like to get him to trust, to trust him, that bad, to the point where what did he offer? And everybody's like, yo, he only offered him $50. It was like, well, damn, these little dudes really must needed that $50, because it's like, the people that went along with this is just like, who would do that, And it is, it is what it is. So it's like, so that's one thing. And Like with the investigators, what they began to find disturbing about Jeffrey Dahmer was the manipulation. Now, here's the thing. Just how he played people in general, the investigators was like, damn, you know, he really played these people, and they really thought he was dead ass serious with the whole $50 for the, you know, for the photos. And as I began to notice this, that's fucked up, bro. Do you, I don't know if y'all really following me, bro. Like, that's really messed up. They had to really, bro, they had to really have, you know, they must have really thought this man was really just about giving him the $50 for the photograph. To the point where this was believable. And the thing that they died for was that this was nothing like that. This was nothing like this. Wasn't just no old man in an apartment. It was a cold-blooded killer. And it's like, dude, it's like, so what? All I'm really doing here is proving my theory. Two perspectives. So yeah, one's is like one's bad and then one's worse. So two bad perspectives, in other words. So it's like if you go into a situation and you playing it safe and normal, you still being manipulative, deceptive, and that is your norm. That's your norm. That's your norm. Appreciate that, Haley. It's like that's your norm. So you literally just reckless off the rip, and that's normal for you. So you could only imagine the other perspective is I don't give a F, to the point where ain't nothing can change your mind to you when you think about something. It can go either way. So that is scary. That's scary as hell, bro, because it's almost like them people died, bro, off of what something looked like, because it felt like, oh, not like a threat. And then it just get like drugged and wake up with a hole in your head and just, you know, acid poured into you. And like, bro, that's why I said, bro, it pays to set boundaries, bro. Because I'm telling you, let's say a person would have set boundaries, and they looked at Jeffrey Dahmer and they like, oh, you know, yeah, I take some photos for the 50, woo, but I need that $50 up front. See what I'm saying? Oh, I ain't going nowhere with you. I need that $50. We're gonna take the pictures right here on my terms. See, like, you set boundaries, you got to have the terms going in your direction, not the other person. Because now, hell yeah, you giving up trust to a stranger. You just too much trust. How you know they really gonna give you the 50 for the photos? And why we gotta take them at your crib? Why we can't take them right here? Or, oh, go get a hotel. I would never want to take that shit back to your place. No. Because now you're doing more than just, you know, than the offer. Doing too much. So that's why I say that. Now, he really did play these people. So innocent people, what did they do? They let their guard down, bro. And that's what happens when something sounds good and you just go along with it and you don't question nothing. You all in. Then a person see, oh, you trust me? Well, let's go sit in my car. Next thing you know, you go sit in the car. Now he driving, or her. They driving you somewhere. You don't even know where y'all going. But it started with you and the lack of boundaries. Now, what tied up with this that made it easy for him to get them to let their guard down was the lack of empathy. So here, He showed an extreme disregard for other people's lives and suffering. He didn't give a fuck, bro. He didn't care if these folks had kids. He didn't care if they never was gonna see they son or daughter no more, their mom, their dad, any type of, ties. He didn't give a damn. See, so here we call this cold-hearted. That's what I said, cold-hearted killer. And then on top of that, he inflicted devastating harm without respecting other people's humanity, bro. Like, bro, it's one thing to hurt somebody. It's another thing to pour acid inside of them, drill a hole in their head, and then you literally cutting off body parts to put on the grill to have for lunch. Bro, that's like, to me, that's like, see, that's why I know it's levels to wickedness, evilness, bro. It's levels to shit, bro. It's levels to manipulation. It's levels. Because, bro, it's one thing not to care. Then it's a whole nother level when you don't give a F to the point where anything can happen. See? Now, deception, okay? Now, let me explain this to you. Everything that I'm mentioning to you, do you think that is behaviors? No. It's not even behaviors. These are multiple personalities, man. See, manipulation is a personality. Lack of empathy. Just not giving a damn. That could be in your character. I just don't give a shit. So I'm going to just do what I do. Hell, I might not even know what I'm finna do and I'm going to do it. See? And then deception, like I said, he lied repeatedly to avoid the consequences. So not only did he do the acts, but he lied about it too. Straight face liar, to be exact. Straight face liar. Bro, that's like impossible to where you literally did these heinous acts and kept a straight fucking face, bro. No nervous energy whatsoever, dog. He did this straight face, bro. That hit different, bro. That mean you couldn't even tell because he didn't care, bro. So that's why he was so calm about it, like, and just, he just ate somebody damn fucking toes and then go sit before some investigators and have no freaking nervous action, no shaking, no stuttering. He just, oh no, ain't nothing going on here, sir. What's that smell? Well, the garbage has been sitting there for a couple of days. I missed the garbage run and yeah, have to catch it next time. But yeah, that's the old fish that I had from Sharks. And it's like, bro, this fucking dude just fucking fooled them that just like that, bro. Because a lot of times people will believe you when you straight face. Like you could literally go to get a slushie and then that shit costs like $4 and some change. But then you look on the damn thing and see that the ice is $1.25. You like, how does the teller gonna know whether I got ice or a slushie if I put a top on it and then I go straight face to the fucking, the damn the line, and I tell the dude, hey, I got a cup of ice, man, and he ring you up for $1.25. How does that happen? Because you keep your demeanor, you keeping a straight face. You're not giving off no emotions, no fucking nervousness, no bad vibe to now the teller just ring you up. He trusts the face. Meaning the deception. See, that's the whole facade. The facade is behind it. So a person that is conditioned to believe facial structure in regard to knowing if it's honest or genuine, you're cooked if you just think that. See how if you just fall for a face, bro, that means you will fall for a flower, bro. Because somebody can have bad intentions that's giving you that flower. And all you focus on is the straight face and the flower, bro. And that person can have a knife behind their back, bro. It's cold-blooded. See, You have to remember that people are capable of doing two things: deceiving you, controlling you, and guess what? The facade and the illusion. They can show you something that's not the fucking truth and then lie to you, and then it's like it hurt you, but then they gave off, good vibes. So that's what you trusted, but you didn't expect them to do the opposite. Now, another thing, like I said, straight-faced liars. So boom. The crazy thing is that the whole straight-faced liar type of vibe within his personality delayed intervention and accountability. See, it slowed that shit down. That's why it's hard for them to even tell he was lying. Because you got to understand, with every single thing that leads up to the deception, you got to, if you trying to catch somebody, you got to find out first that they deceiving you first. And then you got to find out what they deceived you for and why. See? But that all shows that they're hiding something when you are met with the deception in the first place. Now, another personality that he had, the need for control. So here he sought to dominate the situations and other people. Ultimately, that's what he was getting off on. That was something new and exciting for him. Oh, to control somebody against their will. See? And see, this is another thing. Everything had to be his way, or it wasn't going to be fun. It's cold-blooded. See, you got to know how Geminis think, bro. Not how they feel. See, you got to look at an air sign like this, bro, and see how they think. Because listen, if a Gemini got an issue with you, do you think that they're going to try to feel you? No. They're going to try to talk to you with their thoughts. So that could come off, it might not come off comfortable for you to hear it. They might start cussing you out, but if that's what they thinking, they trying to make sense of their thoughts, then you're going to get a piece of their mind. Because they got to get their thoughts out like, oh, we got to talk about it. And what they see you doing, and a lot of times they be paranoid. That's what you paranoid for, because they're not giving you. They may be already aware that they haven't been giving you 100% of the version of who they really are. See? So sometimes they got to see how much you know, and they got to see, okay, well, am I going to breadcrumb you with the little information that you do have? Because I don't want to let you know too much about me where you feel like, oh, I done figured them out. See? Now, just by this alone, it can violate other people's freedom and autonomy, okay? So now it's the way a person is wired and how they live on a day-to-day. This could possibly disrupt that, see? Now, ultimately, a lot of people don't understand, when you have the double life, two perspectives, this is a personality, another one, all within Gemini, bro. And see, here's the double life. It's a double life standard in such a way. Because, bro, they appear ordinary, bro. Now, this to me, this makes it harder for you to get to know them because they appear ordinary. It's like, oh, the lady that goes to the park and gets on the swing, or hey, just out there hanging out. So all you really think is ordinary, oh, this is just an indie old, woman type of thing, regular woman going to the park experience, while hiding horrific crimes, bro. That same lady that looked ordinary, then probably poisoned some people, bro. Then probably killed some folks. Then probably, did all kinds of shit that's considered horrific. But guess what? All you got to work with is the lady at the damn park. Because when Geminis do stuff, bro, they don't leave no fucking evidence, bro. So it makes it easy for them to stomach this shit, bro, because you can't accuse and say you did this. Did you see me? Bro, they don't have that conscience where it's like, oh, I feel bad for what I done. If you don't give a fuck, it's like, that's like eating something and then it's over with. Once you done ate it, it's already done to a Gemini. But like I say, you could be left out of the evidence because of the double life personality. So here, it feels like you're dealing with two different people. But here's the funny part. The best way for you to understand the Gemini is to think of it as two different people, even though it's one person with two different perspectives, as if it was twins with two different brains, right? But this is the craziest part. The easy way to understand a Gemini is to treat them like two different people. Because two different people, what do? Different shit. They do different shit. They do the same shit, but they do it differently. That's what you got to know. Because listen, people don't even understand what one of the twins represent. See, one of the twins is there to distract you. Man, it's cold-blooded, bro. One of the twins, one perspective of Gemini is to distract you. See, from the other. From knowing how risky, how reckless they can be, bro. That's the very thing that gets you. And it catch you off guard because you're conditioned to thinking that somebody is good and bad. But when one's bad and one's worse, that really flips your whole conscious level to what? It makes you really think like, well, damn, how is that possible? Well, it's possible with somebody having multiple personalities. See? And these multiple personalities are not what you think they are. Multiple personalities, isolation, living a double life, deception, manipulation. So these are considered dark characteristics. But you hear it and you think of, oh, different personalities means, oh, jack of all trades. No, really, jack of all evil deeds. See? Now, here's the thing. So let's go back. Two different people. So what ends up happening is that those around the Gemini didn't even recognize the danger. See? So here, it's in isolation. So here, the Gemini keeps that to themselves. See? So now, what do we call this? Concealment. See? Like a gun. So you really keep that gun on you at all times, but nobody knows you got the gun. You know you got the gun. Nobody knows you're going to use it. See? So now that's what catch folks off guard is that, oh, I didn't know that you were going to, you had something stored up for me that I wasn't ready for. See? So this is why Gemini may want to isolate and stay in their own world. See? Because they don't want to share that type of information with anyone that, hey, I got some sort of concealment going on. Because when fewer people notice, then they miss what? The warning signs. See? Now, another personality they have is avoiding responsibility. Because, like I say, just like Jeffrey Dahmer, he tried to evade the consequences for his actions, which means he never owned up to it. He couldn't have been that cold-blooded of a killer if he just couldn't own up to it, right? Which means that he had no problem with offending these folks and their families for years, bro. That's cold-blooded, bro. That's like, damn, that's evil as shit. Like, you gotta think. A person that can't, you know, reach back or deal with their family after the fact, that's what you left with. See? So I say this, the biggest reason why people hated Jeffrey Dahmer, like I say, it isn't because of his personality quirks, okay? I will say that. But the horrific crimes, bro. See? And the whole thing is that it had a lasting harm that he caused to his victims because of it. It was a long, see, anytime you lose somebody, that's gonna stay with you forever, bro. Till you go. So he knew, to me, it's almost like that could have been the plan. See, that, hey, well, if I go down, you still gotta deal with this reality, right? So boom. It just shows you that that with the Gemini, it's definitely a situation that you gotta watch the actions, bro. And like I say, then really, you can't go off emotion. So it's more of an observation and you setting the boundary. You got to say no. So like I say, appreciate everybody coming out. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't. Like I say, y'all, I got Kick. I'm setting up my my Kick and my Twitch and whatnot. So follow me there. And I would appreciate it. Catch y'all